Order the August 10th, 2026 Henderson County Board of Public Education meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated. Chair will entertain a motion for agenda approval.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Staff and student recognitions.
So good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, and those who are present today. We're excited to share about two of our great educators before we start the school year and then roll in all of those students that will come in the following meetings. So I'm going to call up Mr. Scott Moore to share a very special presentation about an award that is connected to a lady who is actually a living legend, an absolute living legend. So, Scott?
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. As Mr. Garrett said, this is truly a pretty special thing. This afternoon, we'd like to recognize Miss Christine Corin. Her on up here. As a recipient of the 2026 Everleen Davis Award for Excellence in Family and Consumer Science. This award, named after Miss Everleen Davis, who's on the screen up here, an active Columbus County Family and Consumer Science teacher who is on the verge of beginning her 70th school year at the spry old age of 93. And a little aside, she also requested this year to teach a brand new class that she's never taught. She requested that for the fall. So a 93-year-old woman is going to be teaching a class she's never taught before this year.
Food's one.
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
She's going to go shop for that too. So.
She's widely recognized as the state's longest serving teacher, and it is no wonder that we want to celebrate our teacher who won her award. Ms. Corin won this award, which is the equivalent of a Lifetime Achievement Award, because of her tireless work with family, career, and community leaders of America, where she has served statewide leadership roles over the years. She's also currently serves the entire state as the pathway lead for culinary arts, highlighting her expertise in her field of teaching. And lastly, she serves as a leader among our CTE staff by working closely both formally and informally with new CTE teachers. And even with this brief description of some of her accomplishments, it's clear that she's a standout among the state giants in family and consumer sciences. Now we can just sit back and observe in awe at the remainder of her career as she attempts to outlast Ms. Davis's record tenure.
Maybe not in the classroom.
I'm pretty sure she can make it to 100. But please join me in congratulating Ms. Christine Corin as the winner of the 2026 Everleen Davis Award.
So Mr. Moore stole my thunder, Ms. Corin, but one, congratulations, and two, we've already got you signed up for the next 50 years. Yeah.
I'll take that.
Then we'll see what happens after that. The next person we want to honor does not want to be honored, but we don't care. We're going to honor him anyway. We found out about this award not from Mr. Moore, but from people who actually attended the CTE conference this summer, that he was awarded the 2025-2026 North Carolina Association for Career and Technical Education the NCAA CTE, rolls right off the tongue, a Western Region CTE Director of the Year. He was honored in front of his peers at the summer conference. We actually had a couple of people, I think he was going to try to leave a little early of that, and somebody's like, no, you need to stay for this very, very last part. He was trying to get out of it altogether, and that's just the kind of humble leader that Mr. Moore is. But we did not want to miss the opportunity whenever we have regional winners, and as far as I know, you'll win the state as well, which would be awesome too. We just wanted to congratulate Mr. Moore for a job well done and for being the 25-26 CTE Director of the Year for the Western region of our state. And like I said, I know you never would have told us. And those are our two recognitions for this month. And like I said, prepare yourselves for the months ahead as we have all those students coming through to be recognized as well. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is board member observations. Anybody have any?
Well, I just would like to say it's time again for those school buses to roll, and I'm excited about a new school year. I've always been excited about new school years. It's a time for new beginnings, and so I'm just excited and welcome all of our students back into our schools. Families, thank you for entrusting us with your youngsters, and we hope we have a great school year.
We've had two of our schools that have already been in session, Bruce Drysdale Elementary and Hendersonville Elementary. And they have a good start to the year. Everything's going great there. So we're looking forward to the rest of them joining them. Anybody else? We're a quiet bunch today. Okay, public comments. I'll call them in the order that I have them here. Carol Cannon. You have 3 minutes and you're getting the hook. I'm just kidding.
How fast you want to talk? Even though it's been 30 years, I still remember sending our younger daughter off to first grade. We had moved during the summer, so she was going to a completely new school in a new town. And we went to the school for registration and testing a week before school started. And she was excited to meet her new teacher and even drew her teacher a picture. Time went by. We got to the school and we're sitting in the hallway at the appointed time, and time went by. And different teachers came out to meet their new students. But Elizabeth's teacher did not appear. Eventually, her teacher came out with a little boy. And it was clear she'd given this little boy, this child, extra time. She asked the parents, "What hand does he write with?" Even though he had completed kindergarten, he had not developed enough writing skills that it was clear which hand he wrote with. His mother replied, "His right hand, I think." And then she asked the question that is on the heart of so many parents. Did he do good? And the anxiety in her voice revealed how difficult school had been for her and how much she wanted him to do well. And public schools have the daunting task to teach and care for children from a wide range of backgrounds. From Elizabeth, who's excited for school, to the little boy who could not write his own name, to the child whose families and parents are overwhelmed with all their life circumstances, to all the other children in their wide variety. Each child has their own challenges and gifts. And this begins in pre-K and continues until they graduate. And the desire for our children to do well is universal among loving parents. And as a community, may we support our teachers, administrators, and staff in their efforts to help all our children do well. May we remember that each child is unique and valuable. And as a school board, may your focus be on the success of each and every child and teen here in the Henderson County Public Schools. May each mother and father's dream come true, that their children do good. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair Silvius?
Hello, welcome back. I just wanted to applaud a number of legislators for the teacher pay raise. So often they seem to be diminished, and I wanted to uplift them with the State Bill 257 that was passed in July. This was negotiated primarily by Speaker Destin Hall and Senator President Pro Tempore Phil Berger. Destin Hall, as the leader of the House, spearheaded the negotiations for the Chamber's budget framework, pushing heavily for the front-loaded raises and the increased teacher-level salary. Senator Michael Lee served as the chief education budget negotiator, championed the final pay scale, and highlighting the combined state and local supplements, meaning no public teacher would be making below $50,000. I want to thank Senator Tim Moffitt, State Representatives Jennifer Balcom and Jake Johnson, as well as they were on the conference committee for the budget. And I want to thank our County Board of Commissioners who voted to approve a 1% local supplemental pay increase. Commissioner Rebecca McCall voted for the local increase and stating that she wanted to attract the best of the best to Hendersonville, and I hope that that is happening. Also, Bill Lapsley and Michael Edney had backed the supplement bump, as they also wanted to protect local schools from losing experienced educators to nearby districts such as South Carolina. And I also want to thank Mark Garrett, because I know you brought the proposal to the county commissioners. So this is just a positive encouragement, and thank you to our legislators. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Elliott?
Good afternoon. According to the latest available data covering the 24-25 school year, Henderson County received voucher funding totaling $5.4 million, covering 981 students. That amounts to $5,500 per student. Tuition at the 3 Henderson County private schools who received the highest voucher funds range from $6,800 to $12,500 per year in tuition. Stated in another way, the parental portion of the tuition ranges from $1,300 to $5,000. So what does the voucher program, all $600 million of it contributed by taxpayers in 25-26, strike anyone as making a private school education more affordable for more North Carolina kids? In actuality, the voucher program is simply a welfare for the already wealthy. Families that could afford private school tuition prior to the voucher program are estimated to be about 90% of the current voucher recipients. What would that $5.4 million of Henderson County voucher funding do for our public schools if the funds were instead folded into the school budget? Well, we could increase each teacher's salary by $6,000. Or we could diminish or even dismiss all the incidental fees that face struggling school families weekly. In actuality, I am confident that all of the smart people sitting in front of me today could put that $5.4 million to many good uses to improve our schools. I honestly cannot understand how anyone who cares about our schools, our staff, our teachers, and especially our students can see the voucher program for anything other than what it is. Yet another grift to move money from the vast majority of us to the few at the top. And we need to be honest about another impact of the program. Vouchers will gradually resegregate our schools. The percent of whites participating in the program have gone from 27% at its inception to 73% currently. Meanwhile, black participation in that same period has gone down from 51% to 11%, and Hispanic participation has stayed constant at 8%. Isn't it ironic that if the participation numbers were reversed, we would have another DEI hysteria? Finally, let's assign blame for this travesty. Let's point the finger at our state legislature, more specifically singling out Tim Moffitt, Jennifer Balcom, and Jake Johnson, our local representatives in Raleigh. They consistently voted in support of this mess. And let's not forget that there are many among us who repeatedly have voted these people back into public office. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Cannon.
Good afternoon. This fall, voters will elect 3 people to serve on the Henderson County Board of Public Education. Now, the race for school board may not be the most high-profile race on the ballot, but it's vitally important. Consider the largest employer in the county is Henderson County Public Schools. Consider the district has an annual operating budget in excess of $160 million, and all that money comes from taxpayers. Consider that all these people and dollars are devoted to the work of educating students. More than 12,000 students enrolled in 23 schools. And consider that each student's life will be shaped by the quality of education they receive and the experiences they have in our public schools. For all these reasons, and for the children most especially, the work of the Board of Public Education is crucial. And because this board is so important, the League of Women Voters of Henderson County and Henderson County Public Schools Strong have decided to sponsor a forum devoted specifically to candidates for the Board of Public Education. Our moderator will be McCrae Benson. We've invited candidates, all candidates to the forum. We hope to see each and every one of them. 2 of you who serve on the board currently are running for re-election. Another candidate's here today as well, I see. We hope all of you will participate in this forum. We want to provide an opportunity for each of you to connect with voters and to make the case for why you should be elected to such an important position. I also want to invite voters to the forum. It will be held Tuesday, September 29th, 5:30 to 7 p.m. at Hendersonville Theater, 229 South Washington Street. We plan to make a video recording of the event, and after the event concludes, the video will be posted at the YouTube channel for the League of Women Voters of Henderson County. We encourage all voters to join us in person, but if you're not able to attend, then please watch the recording later. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna Owens.
Good afternoon. I speak from the Word of God. Psalms 27 says, "Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord. They are a precious gift given to us from God." Proverbs 22 says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. We as adults are commanded to train children in the way they should go. But first, we ourselves have to be in obedience of the commandments of the Lord our God. In Deuteronomy 4:31, we read, "Take heed to yourself, diligently keep yourself, lest you forget the things your eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. And teach them to your children and your grandchildren, especially concerning the day you stood before the Lord your God in Horeb, when the Lord said to me, Gather the people to me, and I will let them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days they live on the earth, and they may teach their children." And Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, at the appointed time in the years of release, at the Feast of Tabernacles, when all of Israel comes to appear before the Lord your God in the place which he chooses, you shall read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Gather the people together, men and women and little ones, and the stranger who is within your gates, that they may hear, that you may learn to fear the Lord your God and carefully observe all the words of his law, and that their children who have not known it may hear and learn to fear the Lord your God, as long as you live in the land which you crossed the Jordan to possess. In Proverbs it's written, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The children of our day being taught the word of the God, are they growing in the wisdom of God, where they will find love and joy and peace, where they will find a confident assurance in who they are as a child of God? Or are our children in the midst of chaos and confusion being taught ideas from a society that they themselves are confused? In 2 Chronicles, God gives us the solution to all the problems of our day. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and heal their land. Thank you.
Thank you. Joyce Marsteller?
I'm so glad that I'm back and you're back. And I will miss you immensely if anyone doesn't, well, no, forget all that. I'm just glad I'm here, and I'm glad you're here, and that we can talk about, I'll do a quick refreshing. I was a wild child. I lived in the woods with my dog and my horse, and I thought I was normal. And then I went to school. Unfortunately, Mrs. Bass, bless her heart, thought I should be right-handed. Consequently, she had a ruler, those 12 inches, at least wasn't a yardstick, and whacked my hand every time I tried to write left-handed. And that kind of started my whole year off kind of bad. I was fearful to go to school. I didn't want to go and get hit. And she was really good at what she did. She made me right-handed. I did not want to be, but she did it. So then I went into elementary school. After that was kindergarten. And all the teachers labeled me retarded. I saw words backwards. I put numbers. Oh, numbers. Oh, numbers. Horrible for a dyslexic person. And the numbers that are mentioned here today, I hope you all understood them because they were like a foreign language to me. But I do know one thing, that all the teachers in my elementary school had me longer than my mom and dad did at home. Because they were working, they were farmers. Well, my mom was sort of, she stayed at home, but she had a lot of work to do. My dad, he was an engineer. He worked for the Grand Trunk Railroad, but he had a farm, and we were raised on a farm. And so my childhood, except for Mrs. Atkinson, was horrid. The elementary schools were just, they were beastly. And what the kids didn't think of, I swear the teachers did. You know, there she is, oh boy, the dummy. And that's okay, you know, I lived with that. And I hated it. And God put that into me to hate for a purpose. And Mrs. Atkinson, she was my fourth grade teacher.
She was the most, she looked at, remember I told you about her? She looked at us and she loved us. And each of us thought we were the favorite. We all thought we were her favorite. And we went to the school, not rehearsal, what do they call that? At the end of the, well, anyway, they all said that she was the important one who changed them in elementary school. And she did that for me. And she sat behind that desk. And she would look at us before school started and pray over us. I didn't know what she was doing because I was a wild child. And she'd pray over us and ask the Lord to have us, not out loud, I found out later. So that was wonderful. And I'm going to continue in junior high, actually high school, next time.
Thank you. Joan, how do I say your last name? How do you say it? Sanyuk. Okay, come on down.
Thank you. It's not easy being Polish. I am a retired minister, and I actually went to religious schools from first grade through college. In high school and grade school, my parents scrimped and saved to make sure we could afford it. Not that tuition was anything like what it is today. In my college, the first year tuition was $1,700. That I've just really dated myself now. And I took out student loans for the college and paid them off. But we didn't get public funding that was special to support our religious education. Every year, there's discussion in the legislature about spending more money on vouchers for private schools. There's discussion about children having time off during school to go to religious instruction. And I want to encourage you not to support that increase. Private school vouchers are disproportionately funding a specific religious education and a specific sectarian religious education on school time is not fair to the students who don't share that religious upbringing, who don't share that religion, whose parents don't share it, whose parents may not have any religion at all. We can teach students the tenets that are common to all the major religions. We can teach them to treat other people the way they would wish to be treated. We can teach honesty. We can teach truthfulness. We can teach mutual respect. Against those things, there is no law. And it doesn't offend anyone's religious sensibilities to encourage people to take responsibility for their actions and to be treating other people with kindness as much as possible. I encourage you not to support the legislature in continuing to divert public school resources to sectarian education. It's not fair to the rest of the public. It's not fair to people whose religious freedom is not being respected. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheila Clendenning. I'd also like to note, Ms. Clendenning, on your paper here that you at first checked that you're a staff member. I mean, we can make it happen again. You don't have to be retired.
Thank you so much.
So if you want to continue to
I
check
had my
that.
glasses on and I said staff member, and I'm a former staff member in North Carolina, so I thought I was within bounds, and then I saw, oh, Henderson County Public Schools.
Well,
that's
come
why.
back.
So I'm really glad to see you all again, and best wishes for the rest of this year. And so in my mind, I'm thinking about the traditional calendar students who are returning this week, and I really want us all to affirm very loudly and very clearly that public schools are our best choice for all of our communities. And we know that in addition to being the only school choice accountable to taxpayers and to official regulation, public schools also provide the most choices for families and students. We know that public schools have an unmatched array of choices with offerings that range from early college, international baccalaureate, dual language immersion, the STEM and STEAM programs, the arts. Buncombe's having a little issue with that. Career, tech, leadership, world studies, gifted and talented programs, and a wide variety of athletic programs and special interest clubs. We know also that public schools welcome and provide a free education to all students, regardless of income, race, ethnicity, religion, language ability, or other characteristics, such as learning needs or physical challenges. So it is in everyone's best interest, of course, to make sure that our public schools have the resources they need to thrive. North Carolina and Henderson County Public Schools continue to perform far above the level of the support they receive. Just a couple of considerations. North Carolina, we know, now ranks very low. I'm not sure what the numbers are now since the budget was finally passed, but very low on education funding level, very low on education funding effort, and very low in average national teacher pay. But North Carolina is first in the number of national board certified teachers in the nation, and above the national average in passing scores on advanced placement exams. The Henderson County salary supplement is nearly $2,400 below the state average, yet we achieved a 2026 graduation rate of 94%, which is 5 points higher than the state average. These and other results, which I've adapted from a recent report from Public Schools First of North Carolina, show that despite the inadequate investment, our schools are despite this inadequate investment, our schools are obviously capable of excellence, far beyond excellence. I fear, however, that there is a limit to how far we can expect our educators to continue to stretch. Can we please all now vow to make this new school year the very best in the nation, make our public schools the very best, because we know our children deserve nothing less, and we know that when public schools thrive, everybody wins. Thank you.
Okay, that is all of the sheets that I have. We're going to move on to consent agenda. Chair will entertain a motion.
Move we approve the items for,
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will go to old business, and that is Dr. Taylor for policy updates.
This is Dr. Taylor makes his way to the podium. These are two policies in the array that we passed in June that you want to move forward for a couple of little changes. So Dr. Taylor will be able to cover those with you this evening. And we have our attorney here to answer any questions that you may have.
Yes, thank you. So for the first policy update that does carry over from our June meeting is for policy 1310. And the board had two questions regarding this policy. The first is the update that takes place at the bottom of page 2, where it has a phrasing in there about, to the extent practicable, parents and students will be provided advance notice of classroom discussions, activities, or assigned readings. This goes on to connect it to policy 3510 about religious-based exemptions from school programs. And so the question that carried over from our June meeting was about whether or not this part of the update was required. And this specific update does connect to general statute. And so what we see here in this wording shows up in policy 3510 to also align with general statute. So I'm happy to answer any further questions about that specific update. And again, as Mr. Garrett had mentioned, Mr. Campbell is here to answer any questions that I cannot answer that relate to the law.
So just to clarify, it is not the expectation of this board that staff, teachers in particular, provide advance notice of all classroom activities, discussions, and assigned readings. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This would only come into play when?
When a teacher or the school knows of a parent who has expressed a concern about their religion being infringed upon by certain curricular topics. At that point, the school has been put on notice, and so that's when that specific parent will receive notice in advance of any topics that the school is aware.
That takes an active notification on the part of the parent.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
That answers my question from last June, I guess.
All right.
Thank you. It does that word, I can't even say it now. Participle.
Practica.
Thank you. Well, it's still participle, isn't it? Anyway, it's where you put the syllable. So anyway, it really is important, I'm just going to say this, it really is important for parents to get involved. It's extremely important. This is one of the things that we have pushed and pushed and pushed for years, for parents to come forward, find out what's being taught, and get in there, get involved with their kids. So some of the things that a parent can do, there's involvement plan, obviously, is regular meaningful two-way communication between home and school, responsible parenting, involvement of parenting in student learning and parental volunteering in school, involvement of parent in school decisions that affect their children and families, parental training based on parental information needs, and the list goes on and on and on. And this is, I mean, it's exhaustive of how much it is essential for the parents to actually be involved in their children's education. But this did read like it threw the weight onto the school system to be able to get the material to the parent. It is essentially that as well, but the first and foremost front runner is the parent, to be able to get in there and find out what their children are being taught. So I appreciate the wording, and I appreciate the discussion earlier to be able to actually clarify that. Switch it up to the right responsible party. Yep. Thank you.
And every time I've gone in and asked to look at curriculum, like if it's been something new, they're very, like the office has it, they give it right to me. So it's just going to take active parents, like you're saying. You know, parents need to be present, and they need to understand what their kids are being taught and ask these questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no information being withheld. I do want to say that. Can we just talk just briefly about policy 3510 and the crossover that you're talking about, how these two link?
Sure, and I can address that if you'd like me to.
Thank you.
So policy 3510 embodies the religious exemption that the General Assembly has put in place for families. And the linchpin of policy 3510 and the law is whether or not specific classroom discussions, activities, or assigned readings could, in the opinion of the parent, impose, or the student, impose a substantial burden on the student's religious beliefs or invade the student's privacy by calling out the student. And this is where it loops back into that phrase, to the extent practicable, or I just say practical for the board's benefit. It means the same thing, only a word that a lawyer could love. So what the law is very straightforward, that if a parent or a student believes that a particular lesson activity is going to place a burden on their religious beliefs or call the student out, then they can request to be opted out, and the school system will honor that. I think it bears repeating for the public, this has been a long-standing procedure, just practical procedure of the Henderson County Schools, that if a parent had a religious objection, it was accommodated. That's now in the law. The law is clear, though, that only the parent and the student will know if the particular lesson places a burden on their particular religious beliefs. Even within the same denomination, two different parents may feel differently. One parent may feel that the lesson does place a burden on their religious beliefs. Another parent who attends the exact same church may feel that the lesson doesn't place a burden. So it does put the onus initially on the parent to come forward. But once that parent comes forward, they have the ability to opt out. The only way for them to know is for the school to effectively provide advance notice to the parent. So that's why the two interrelate. To the extent practicable is in situations where we have some reason to believe that the parent may feel that the lesson or the activity places a burden on the student. So you're exactly right. You have to read both policies together. The right is in policy 3510. The notice is in policy 1310. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, thank you.
Great.
Good clarification.
Absolutely.
I was just going to make a quick comment that the school system has done an excellent job of already doing these things before this. And I think this is a win, and I just want to, highlight for both parents and for our staff. I think we have a really good system in place. Parents have always been and are always encouraged. If you have any question, you always have a right to see at any point. So I think it's a win, and I'm proud that we were already doing all of these things anyway.
And curriculum, classroom materials, all of that is open to parent inspection upon request in the Henderson County Schools. Madam Chair, there was one other question about 1310 while we're there. Do you want me to address that
Sure.
from the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay, the other question that was asked of our office from the last meeting, if you will look at policy 1310, it makes notice to or makes reference to the teaching of any instruction that involves sexuality, sexual activity, or gender identity. And those particular instructional items are prohibited in grades K through 4. Again, that is from the General Assembly. And the reason that K through 4 was chosen is because in grades 5, 6, 7, we start to do comprehensive health education. We start to do things like sex education that parents have to opt in for that particular curriculum. And several boards have asked, well, does it have to be K4? Because if you read it just the way it's written, it seems like that there will be instruction on those different topics after grade 4, which of course is not the case. So the question that was asked directly of us is, could the board change the reference in 1310 to K12 instead of K4? And the answer is yes, you can. Because the North Carolina curriculum and the legal requirements for specific curricula, such as the comprehensive health education curriculum, will always take precedent over your board policy and must be read together with your board policy. So we see no legal issue at all with you changing K4 to simply say K12 because it is an instructional prohibition. You would also need to make that change to 3540, which is your health education policy, because it also has the reference to K4. So that would just be a corresponding change. So, Madam Chair, I see no issue with the board also taking action tonight to change those two policies to read the prohibition in K12 instead of K4.
Does anybody have any questions about that? Do you want us to take these separately? Probably might be easier if we're going to make that change to do them separately. Sure. Okay. Chair will entertain a motion.
So I think the first motion would be just to adopt 1310 as presented. That's the first motion.
Board of Education adopt policy 1310 as amended.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And the second motion would be to adopt a change to 1310 and 3540 to read that the prohibitions on sexual activity, sexuality, and gender identity apply K12 instead of K4. And someone can say so moved.
So moved. So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Okay. So the next one that carries over from June is Policy 4135, Tuition for Discretionary Admissions. And so in June, the board approved a change to this where the policy now states that tuition is waived for students out of county who enroll by certain deadlines. So for the flex calendar, for example, students who enroll by August 30th, tuition is waived, and students who enroll from out of county in a traditional calendar school by September 30th, again, tuition is waived. What the board requested in June was that it also be stated in the policy that the tuition is prorated once students enroll beyond those deadlines and will be charged tuition of some kind. And so the policy update that's being presented tonight does include a sentence that states tuition shall be prorated based on the portion of the school year remaining at the time of the student's enrollment. So happy to answer any questions about that minor change to the policy.
Anybody have any questions? Okay. Chair will entertain a motion. Second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. New business, contracts, purchases in excess of 90,000. Mr. Sosha.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Hope you've all had a nice summer. Since I've seen you last, we have a state budget. Isn't that exciting?
And salary scales
Yeah, salary schedules and everything.
that are in place.
We are starting the year unlike we've ever done, so this is exciting. And to start it off, we're going to spend a lot of money, apparently, as you see in front of you. So we've got actually 4 contracts that we are asking for approval on. The first one is Emergis. That is a temporary EC staffing service. Continues to get trickier and trickier during the year whenever we need EC services provided with teachers leave, and it's getting harder to find staffing in the middle of the year. We have a lot of vacancies, and EC is not a program that can go without teachers in the room. So Dr. Shelton went out and did an RFP to select a company that would be able to come in as needed to fill in, to provide some temporary EC services if we need them.
Okay.
So that is the first one there. The next one on the list you'll see is Daikin. Been brought to my attention that we are actually negotiating a little bit more with that contract to limit some of the amount of equipment that we are serving to change that price. So we are not asking for approval on that one this evening. We're going to come back with a lower price, hopefully next time. Imagine Learning, this is one that we have been using with StudySync for the last 4 years through McGraw-Hill. They have now changed to Imagine Learning. And this one is, as it says, $132,000 of state textbook funds to provide this curriculum for the next year. The next is another one for the EC program, Maxim Healthcare. Again, this is to provide nursing services as needed. Last year, we spent $7,183 with this company. We are asking to contract with them again. We did do an RFP, though, just to make sure that they were still going to be the company that we wanted to go with. Allowing us go up to the limit at the time was $249,000 is when we put it out. But again, this is an as-needed situation that if a student comes and does require services, that we have someone we can call on immediately to provide those services to the student. And the last one is actually for Mills River Elementary School. This was a fundraiser that the PTO did out there to put a multi-use trail around the school. We put it out to bid once, came in high. We put it back out again after changing a little bit of the scope of the project, and came back in. There, I believe there was, is it 9? Yes, 9 vendors responded to that one, and they selected Moore & Son at $187,000 of fundraised money at PTO.
Do you know how long it took them to raise that money?
They've been working on this for a couple of years now.
Okay.
Yep.
That's impressive.
They have been very.
Cash work, I'm reading the contract, the contract's with us.
The contract is going to be through us.
But it's PTO.
How does the PTO, so we have to approve the contract first, or do we have money in hand?
They have the money in hand, and we will approve the contract, and then the money will flow through us.
Has anybody seen the money?
This is how we typically operate with a lot of PTO projects when they are a capital.
Most of them are $187,000.
No, but they have the money. The money is, we requested, well, we required that the money be in hand before the project was started. And now that they have a price, they can pass the money through to us so that we have the funds to pay the vendor. We will have the money.
Not until after we sign the contract.
Correct.
No, you could approve the contract. We could get the money and then sign off.
Okay.
That would be the order I would recommend. And that way we're protecting your bottom line.
So I don't know if that needs to be amended or something in there. clearly not in the contracts with us. But that would make me feel a lot more comfortable.
I think it could be as simple in your motion to add that once the
Well, it's got to be a
contract can
couple
be
different motions.
signed,
'Cause
once
it's
it
got- We
is.
got to take out DICON too,
I would-
right? And-
Right, DICON, we're working out a better deal.
Okay.
So you might just want to take them all individually, because you've got 3, and then,
Okay. Can you scroll back down or up or whichever way you went? Yeah, go the,
Yeah, Emergis is the first one.
yeah, I don't want to see the first, I want to see
Oh,
the,
you'll see the bottom one?
all right, so what you're saying is we can amend this to say we will approve this contract upon verification that we have the cash in hand from Mills River PTO.
and we will not execute it until we have that cash in hand.
I'd like to make that motion.
You can, I was going to say, you can make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm excited for them. That's exciting. It just makes me really nervous when it's like 187,000. We have to sign the contract, and within 30 days, we have to send them a check.
Yeah, this is going to be a very good project out there. They've been working on it a long time. They
That
have
is
the bike
awesome.
program that they've been doing.
That is-
Now they'll
That's
basically
right.
have
That's a lot
a
of
figure
fun.
8 bike track.
That's a lot of snow cones.
No.
A lot of snow cones and face paint right there.
They have been working very hard.
Well, congratulations to them. I'm excited for them, and yeah, that's extremely impressive.
I'll make a motion to approve Ambergris Educational Staffing, Imagine Learning, and Maxim Healthcare Services as presented.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Marlowe, College and Career Promise Plan.
So you might be familiar with what we call CCP, which is the College and Career Promise Plan. It's the dual enrollment program where our students in high school and juniors and seniors can, at the same time as they are in our high schools, they can also earn college credits through Blue Ridge Community College in this case. We have an MOU with Blue Ridge Community College. And the state has now made it a priority and a requirement to make sure that we have agreements with the community colleges that we're working with. We've always had a great partnership with them. That has not been a problem at all. In fact, we have a pretty substantial MOU with them. And so I have pulled that piece out for you to review, the requirements that are on the Henderson County side for our CCP program, as well as the requirements for Blue Ridge. And they have already taken a look at it. We will have to submit our plan now per DPI to the state. And once you have approved that, I think we will be ready to do that, unless you have questions.
This MOU is updated yearly.
Yes, it is. We update this, as well as many other pieces of our agreements with Blue Ridge on an annual basis. In fact, this year, we aligned the requirements from the state more carefully. All the components were in there, but we really spelled them out on what the requirements were.
I had one on the requirement, make a 2-year commitment for 1 period per day. How does that work for Hendersonville High School in there? It's 7, are we on 8 periods? I don't know if I'm up there. We're still 7 periods.
Yeah.
How does that work with them versus our block schedule schools?
Usually what they try to do is double up so that they are able to fill in that block time. If
So
it
that
does-
1 year, they'll take 2 classes? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Because they'll take one first semester, one second semester?
yes. It just lasts the year for them, yes.
Okay.
And Blue Ridge works with us on that. They are very aware that we have a 7-period day school, and that's part of the conversation whenever we have classes that come up with them is what does it look like at the traditional block schools and what does it look like at Hendersonville High School?
And then who's making the decision on which courses are going to be offered at schools for that particular year? So I know, like, I think stats was added maybe this year or something, and we took out ASL or something, or?
It usually depends on interest. The other piece to that is we do have, and it's referenced on the last page of that MOU section, the Blue Ridge Scholars. Those are pretty pretty set because those kids are already in process. So those really haven't been touched over the last year or so. But the other courses are based on need. And if we don't have something that students are looking for, then we sometimes see if they can offer it. Or if we have somebody who can't teach something, they're able to do that for us.
Last question, but all things remaining relatively equal, can Hendersonville High School students receive the same amount of college credit as our other three high schools, traditional high schools?
They can, but they have to be very creative in doing that.
Meaning?
Meaning schedule-wise, they've got to be able to kind of flex their schedule or use 2 periods and try to match courses over the course of a year where the others are able to do it semester by semester.
They do have to plan ahead more strategically.
Like as a sophomore, you really got to start thinking about this and plan on what that's going to look like and what's being offered.
And Blue Ridge meets individually.
Hopefully, right.
Blue Ridge also meets individually with Dr. McDarris or the principals who have been there to talk about what the interest is, what they can offer, and what that needs to look like time-wise. And they've been able to adjust some time slots to make sure that those kids are able to take those courses. But it's more challenging to schedule there than it is at the other 3 high schools and the early college, of course.
I have a question on the 2-year commitment. So if a student has to do it both junior and senior year, they can't just do it their senior year?
They wouldn't get the full courses, the full rotation. So that's why the commitment, when we go into that discussion with the students, we really ask that they make that commitment because just like we talked about being strategic with Hendersonville High School, they are being strategic in what classes they're going to get and then try to work around the rest of their schedule. Those courses are generally offered for Blue Ridge scholars in the early part of the day, so that gives them the flexibility to pick and choose other options or other needs the rest of the school day.
But if a student wants to take dual enrollment courses as a senior, they're able to take dual enrollment courses that are offered in the full catalog. It's just not specific to that Blue Ridge Scholars Program.
What classes are we offering this go-round? Sorry.
There's a chart.
Okay.
And it depends on the school.
I thought it was only like eight courses total for that 2-year period.
It is.
There are, but they
is, and
rotate
what we
by when
try
they're
to do-
offered for each school.
And what we try to do is partner schools so that junior year, 1 year at one school is opposite of the other. So it maximizes the number that kids can take while using the same amount of staff and faculty that Blue Ridge have.
Exactly.
And they're not bouncing all over the place.
Statistical methods
Yes,
and
that's-
general psychology.
Yeah. But, I mean, those are great. I mean, those are first freshman and sophomore year college classes that you're going to have to take anyways. So if you can get it for free, and stats, if you can get that taken care of now, then do it.
We have focused
I'm a
on.
math guy, and stats was a struggle.
We have focused on the gen ed core.
Yeah, I think that's important, you know, and I like the ASL courses, but I think more gen ed, because you don't have to have a foreign language or ASL to graduate with a BS, you do with a BA, but I think it's better to take those general courses rather than start taking some pick and choose.
And the ASL came up because that's been such a popular
Yeah.
second language now for
Sure.
students. So, yeah.
So it's not been removed, it's still there, right?
You could still take it, yes. And I believe it's still part of the rotation for
Oh, I thought they took it.
scholars, but if your school's already had it, then you wouldn't have it again.
It's every other year.
That's why.
Okay.
It would be every other year.
Yes.
Because we used to do it like every year where you could have that.
Yeah, with the scholars, we rotate it that way. No matter when you enter as a junior, you're able to get all 8 courses because you rotate it.
I move that the Henderson County Board of Public Education approve the Career and College Promise Memorandum of Understanding as presented.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the discussion of the clear bag procedure.
Yes, ma'am. This is a discussion that grew out of the email that I shared with y'all a week or so ago, and you wanted to have a little bit of discussion on it. This is a procedure that we would like to implement with our ball games specifically. Mr. Rhodes has been working with the athletic directors who have made this request based on some of the neighboring counties and some of the people across the state in concern about security issues at events. We were trying to be a little proactive here and making sure that what we're doing in our events is as safe as we can possibly make them. So, Mr. Rose, I don't know if you wanted to add any more about how we got to this point.
I don't think I have a whole lot to add other than just that, our athletic directors reached out to us as a concern. And we sat down with folks from the first department and had some conversations and really tried to reach out to other school districts that were doing this and using this as a procedure in their school districts, Buncombe County being one of them. So we used that information to kind of help guide us in coming up with a plan that we thought would be a good way of making sure that people come to our ball games would be able to know that they're coming to the most safe environment that we could give them.
So where we settled out after those discussions, you see on your screen right now are some clear bag guidelines and the searches that would be taking place before they actually entered the venues. Again, mainly looking at our larger events, our football games, our basketball games, some of those athletic events that we have seen can cause some of the most security concerns. So if you look there on the graphic, it talks about a clear bag, a 1 gallon zip bag, a small clutch for folks that need things to be more discreet at certain times, a seat cushion that has no pockets larger than 2 inches, and then it shows what is not allowed there. Again, these are for events that would be after school.
And are we talking middle and high school or just high school right now?
So the conversation that really got it to the district level is trying to make sure that we have consistency from school to school. Typically, these are, the game management situations come out of the schools. So one school may have a security measure that another didn't. What we like to have here is as much consistency as we can. So that's really why it got to my level. My understanding is when the initial conversations, we're talking again, coming out of those big events, big football games, you got visitors coming from all over. You're not exactly sure about everybody in that community, in the basketball games and some of the other larger high school. What we've talked about is having the option of going ahead and setting that standard at our middle school and high school athletic events, just so that folks know when you come to a Henderson County event, for that consistency, this would be the procedures that we would expect the fans to adhere to be able to enter. Also should help with some of the security entrance, make it a little bit quicker if we have these clear bags as well.
All right, I want to get started. Number one, I think this is a policy, not a procedure. I think that this board needs to make this decision on if this is going to be implemented in Henderson County. No disrespect to any district leadership or sheriff's officers, but I think these 7 people should make this decision. And I agree that a clear bag policy is a best practice. I go to football games, I go to many things, college, pro, whatever, and this is the standard. Concerts, whatever. I think the devil's in the details. And when this was brought up, we were going to implement it essentially, immediately upon school starting Wednesday, and I think games might start tomorrow or next week or whenever the games start, is who is actually going to be sitting at that front table or whatever it is that you're coming into that game at Hendersonville Middle School or Flat Rock or at East or whatever, and who's going to be responsible for making sure that you're checking this, educating people that don't have the right bag and dealing with that. And so is that going to be your ADs? Are we going to have a sheriff at every game? Are we going to be doing this at volleyball games at middle school that has 15 parents? Or are we going to be just doing it at select few games? For me personally, I think if you do this district-wide. You do it at kindergarten, Christmas singing. Anybody that enters your facility, you have them in a clear bag policy. Because I think where you start to get a little fuzzy is that, oh, they don't do it at the middle school for the softball game because you really can't, right? Or the baseball game that's down at Green Meadows. That's pretty difficult to have a clear bag policy there. It's not even our facility because it's a park. And so I want to have some more understanding of where this is going to be implemented, who is actually going to be implementing the policy at the actual game itself, because they're the ones, that English teacher whose turn it is to sit at the gate and take the $5, they're the ones that are going to catch it from parents that don't have the right bag and can't get in and see their baby playing, right? And so I think that's why I think we kind of all got on our email chain and pumped the brakes on this thing really quick, because I think there's a lot more details that need to be hammered out and brought back to us before we can really implement something of this nature.
Is this something that the sheriff's department was involved in?
I can speak as far as wording. It was mainly how things were worded and jurisdictions that we have. You know, obviously the schools would have to do something, and if the school had something where they had somebody who didn't want to comply and they wanted them trespassed or not to come in, that would be a school decision in which they would ask the SRO or whoever the officer is at that point. So it would be a school decision. It's not a HCSO, but it's what wording might need to be said to make things a little easier.
Is the sheriff's department supportive of this? Is this something that they think that we need to go to as a district?
I mean, right now, we go to our neighboring agencies, and it's way more invasive. Everybody actually gets wanded. This is one of the cheapest, most less invasive things you can do. When it comes to backpacks and stuff, that's already things with kids that are being done. Backpacks aren't allowed to be like taken around, whether it be basketball, football. Those are kept up front. Kids can come back and get them. They know that. So it's nothing that's abnormal to what's being done right now.
That's all I need to hear. I figure the sheriff's department, that they're the experts on safety. As far as it being district-wide, I agree 100% that it needs to be at every middle school game and high school game, and, you know, I agree with that. I think you have to set the expectation across the district. And I'm very supportive of it.
How do we implement this at baseball games?
Which baseball games?
Any?
The ones that don't have, like the ones that don't.
The only one
Tier
that
one
is west and north really have entrances, right? Like east, you can
North,
just
you can
park.
still actually-
Yeah, you can sit around the back, but Hendersonville doesn't have a field yet. That one would be easier if Berkeley was done, but, you know, might not be done by the season, whatever. How do you do that at softball games at Jackson Park? How do you do that at middle school games? Do you do it at cross country? Are we doing this do we have somebody there for a track meet?
I just want to make sure that our schools can implement.
And that's the next thing. Yeah.
Because I know at middle school athletic events, you have volunteer teachers there. Well, you do at high school too.
Yeah.
And that's putting a big burden on a middle school or a high school teacher. I'm not opposed to it either. I agree with you. To me, this is clearly a policy that should be governed and approved by the school board. Because we're going to catch the heat for it, one way or the other. Not as much as that teacher sitting there taking the money, but we will catch the heat for it. It is needed, and, you know, our neighboring counties have something. Buncombe County has a no-back policy, period. You don't take anything in other than a wallet. And, you know, I think it's time before there is an incident. But I think we have to be very careful and make sure that our school staff can handle that, and that they have the manpower to do that. And like you say, what are you going to do if, you know, they're going to have something set up at that gate so that there are clear procedures as to what they do if somebody doesn't want to comply. Of course, they don't go in, but, you know, they're going to have some backup. And, you know, if we're going to do it, then we need to do it for everything. I'm more so for high school than middle school, but I'll go along with whatever.
I think, yeah, it should be all middle and high school. I think you're right, the lower, you know, it's like a golf game or something, I mean, like, it's still our policy will be our policy, but you're correct, there won't be people enforcing it. I think you know, not to say that someone couldn't have something in their bag at one of those events, but statistically, when you have a football game or basketball and you've got thousands of people packed in, that's statistically where your problems are. I think, you know, all we can do is ask people at the smaller, you know, tennis match or something, you know, something, that's still our policy. And if people, you know, come in with a bag, I mean, I'm sure we could.
So every event has an administrator. Every event has a game manager.
It's at a school property, so there should be someone, I think, yeah.
I was thinking, you know, listen, if we're concerned about safety, then do it across the board.
Great.
With
Like every single building that you come into, you have to have a clear bag.
Are you talking about even
Everything.
Parent-teacher
Like-
conference?
Everything.
everything? Like
walking
even,
into
even the kids coming in
I
at
think
school?
the problem is, like, you go to a parent-teacher conference at Hendersonville Elementary at 4 o'clock or whatever, 3:30, and you leave there, you walk across the street to your daughter's volleyball game, and you can't get in there with your bag that you just had. And so if we set a precedent that every building that we have is clear bag, then it's going to take a little bit to implement that, but then all of a sudden, it becomes the norm. I think where we get into trouble with things like this is that it's done here, but it's not done at this place, or it's done at this sporting event and not that sporting event, or it's done with these 100 people at this game, but not 200 parents or 500 parents at a senior play.
I would say plays and concerts and stuff like that falls into this category. I see what you're saying and I see your thought process, but if I am not, I think we're getting a little too far, because then it talks about every kid's going to need a clear backpack. Every teacher's only going to have a clear, I mean, if we're going to go that extreme, I draw a line and I'm kind of pumping the
Sure.
brakes.
And that was another question I had for Mr. Garrett was, what about the kids that are coming to the games with backpacks? And
They don't
our
get to
kids
bring
have
them in. They
backpacks, so
go
it
to
doesn't
their
matter,
car.
right?
Somebody drove them there or they drove.
Well, they came up on a bus after
They'll have to
school.
have a place to hold them. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
hold them up front.
There'll be a pile of them.
And to be honest, there's usually never a pile. I mean, 5 would be a lot. I've never seen that many, and I work a lot of ball games. And usually just say, hey, just keep that up front, and they're like, okay, then they go put it up front and they come back and get it.
What about athletes who are traveling to our school system from a visiting school, and they have their backpacks with them? What do they
Stay on
do?
the bus, It's locked in the locker room.
They can go on the campus and put them in the
Yeah,
locker room?
they just take them to the
Yeah,
locker room.
okay.
And they're under supervision.
Could you let us know how many of your boards have this type of a policy?
We can find out and definitely let you know. I think one thing you need to decide again is this being applied to visitors to schools during the school day? That would exempt teachers. It would only apply to visitors during the academic day. So that would be one way to make it applicable without applying to teachers during the workday. You could say, but then, and anyone attending a public event after school hours. So even your teachers would know if they're going to a choral concert, if they're going to a football game, then this would apply to them. So that'd be one way you could address that. But I'll find out about other boards. I have no idea.
I mean, I can always throw it. I would love the huge metal detectors. We've done it. I know that Pete's gone. It's $500,000. There's been lots of gun violence lately in and around Henderson County and neighboring counties. This is minimal, and I don't ever want to be like, well, because if we make them have a clear 1 gallon size bag that they can't put a weapon somewhere, they can put a weapon on their body. You know, we can't ever just say, well, this is going to make us safe. It's just another step to try.
But I think it's a step that we have to take.
In this world, I believe we need to do something. I mean, and this is pretty normal. Anywhere we go now, it's pretty normal. I don't think anybody, I've never worked a single ball game where a kid was like, oh, you have a backpack. You know, they spend a lot of care with that. They take care of the kids because they do understand. You know, we do have kids that travel from different parents' homes and whatnot. They have clothes in there. They're never treated any different, you know. And of course, that goes back to administrative. I know I speak because I'm there and I see it. But this would make things a little easier. But it's not a catch-all.
Well, the implementation, I'm good with it. It was the timing that just kind of caught me off guard. It's like, when did we start discussing this? And, I mean, we're right now ready to start school. This is a big ask for people. And how do you get the word out so quick? Do you turn people away? And again,
Mark calls them in a recorded message.
well, that's not to the entire public, though.
The games are
Oh.
Friday.
No,
You-
but,
it's
I mean,
not.
should we just not, and what happens
No,
if at the second game, someone brings a gun and?
No, I totally agree. I totally understand. I think it's great. I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm not opposed to it at all. I'm just wondering exactly how do we do this at this late of it's a late hour. I mean, how do you do that?
So again, that was what we shared with you, was that communication that we would like to put out. This, again, are some guidelines as well that we'd like to put out. For context, I still get things from down the mountain. They made this announcement last Thursday, and they shot it out with their email pieces and their social media pieces and all that. So McDowell County has just gone to this as well, not outside of Buncombe County. I don't know if some of the others. But I think for us is you all owning this is perfectly fine. That's where it absolutely needs to be. If you decide what is the directive moving forward.
And you can have an effective date. I mean, we all know the downside of saying it's not effective until September is something could happen in August, but you're trying to balance it. So you could have an effective date that isn't this Friday. It's a little bit later.
So could you do something as far as procedural goes for now, and then let us write something out, have something written out that's a little more solid? I don't know. Is that possible?
I mean, the game management is always at the school level. And that's where the authority lies on that game management.
In my opinion, I think we need to decide today and get it like out there.
Moving,
ASAP.
something moving, yeah. Mike?
When are our first games?
So,
Friday.
Friday.
Or first day of school, we have
Probably volleyball.
matches and
You
things,
got
yeah.
scrimmages.
Friday or scrimmages.
so a couple things. And I guess having 33 years has, I guess it has its advantages. Or we're going to find out. Here's what I would say to you. Folks, this is what we do. This is what we do. I mean, we know how to handle these things. And I know you want to own it, but, you know, no good deed goes unpunished, as Bo Caldwell used to teach me a long time ago. When you make it a policy, we're going to be bringing this back to you a lot. Because guess what? We've never done a clear back policy. We're learning too. We're learning from the people who've done this, and we're going to try it ourselves. And really, we need to try to learn. We need to try to learn from this, and we need to implement this at our big sporting events, and we need to do it now. And here's why we need to do it now. It needs to be a guideline or a procedure, in my professional opinion. And the superintendent, if he disagrees, obviously, we've talked about this, but I say that for this reason. It's not when. It's only if. And there's a lot of things that have been drifted.
That was backwards.
You know what I meant. Thank you. Like I said, it has its advantages. But my point is, we need to be able to have some flexibility to be able to implement this, because it is a moving target as we learn to implement this in a way that it's going to be most effective. We've had every one of these discussions. We've talked about each and every detail that you're going to talk about. Why is that? Because that's what you hired us to do. It is our job to make sure that we go through each and every one of those details with a fine-tooth comb. We've talked about every one of those situations. What do you do at the middle school basketball game? What do you do at the middle school baseball? Those are great questions. And guess what? We don't have every answer to that either, because we're working through that as well. But again, I say all that to say this. You've been to events where you have to go through this. We do as well. Whether it be at a college graduation, whether it be an athletic event, we would do a great job working with Kimberly to get that information out through social media. When that time arises, we'll make sure we get every bit of information out to people to make sure that they understand what that policy is for, but more importantly, what the purpose is for. And with that, I will say this, athletic contest, we had a scrimmage last Friday. We have scrimmages now. The first football game is a week from Friday. Volleyball and those other contests will start next week on Tuesday.
So whether it's a policy, administratively, a procedure or whatever, the emails are coming to us, right? We're the ones that are going to bear the brunt of whether it's a good policy, bad policy, or somewhere in between. I think I need to hear from you guys, where is this being implemented? What are we doing this at? Are we just doing this at our four high schools football games for now? Are we going to do this at the volleyball games to start? Are we going to do this at middle school football games? Are we going to do this at JV football games?
I would like to see it everywhere.
Yeah, well, yeah, not only that, but
To be at all.
events.
Well, that's what, I
The
need them to
public
say
is-
that though. Like, what are we doing? Because if it's a procedure, then they're making the decision.
I see what you're saying.
So in
Not
the
all signage.
communication that was shared, it talked about middle and high school events. That's what we talked about.
All of
We
it.
can do all, or we can do athletic.
Well, I think
We initially were talking about athletic events
Concert.
because of getting started.
drama.
And any
plays.
public event that draws outside crowds.
So like graduation,
Yeah, yeah.
plays.
Definitely, yeah,
Yes.
across the board. All schools, all of them.
And again, the involvement of me in this, these are things that individual schools could be doing. And I know we may disagree on that authority, but having been a high school principal and having to do game management, and safety management and all that, what my involvement is and the expectation is we need to be consistent in Henderson County so that we don't have somebody at East going to a game at West and seeing something different. So that was the conversation that elevated it to the district level. And that necessitated my email to you all to say, here is the communication that we have put together.
And I appreciate the consistency across the board. So that would also include, consistency would also include at every event, at every school throughout the school year. Right?
So we were initially thinking middle and high school.
Well, you've got some nice
But
plays.
if you want to do the whole, I mean, again, you give us the directive and we will make it happen and we'll figure out how to implement it.
Can
Because they've already, the big events, they're already figuring out how to implement, which is going to be football.
Actually, football's one of the least of my worries, to be honest.
It's not mine. It's not one. of the
Well,
least
I
of
know
my
there's a
worries.
lot more people, and like you said, you can carry a gun and whatever.
And it attracts people from a lot of places who
So-
we don't know.
Implementation-wise, would we have, or would the sheriff's office, we have officers at the majority of these games. I'm not sure about middle school games. Do we have SROs there?
We do actually, and those numbers have gone up. We work very well together, but please speak on that.
Yeah, so, excuse me, but yes, we have SROs at all of our football, basketball, and even volleyball events, wrestling. We have all those folks. We have at least one officer at most all of those events.
Is it possible if we implement this, if we ran with this today, to make sure that we have an officer at those gates with that teacher to start?
So they're already there.
So that we know that, I'm worried about our teachers that are going to be sitting there taking the brunt of a lot of
You
this.
bring up
Correct.
that's a fair point.
Correct.
And again, I want to go back to, that's something that we've had in our conversations with our athletic directors and principals as well. Let me give you an example. We don't ever want to put an employee in a position where they're going to be there by themselves, having to have a conversation with a disgruntled person who's wanting to come to an event because they didn't meet that guideline, right? So we're going to have administrators there. And again, this is going to be just like anything else. We're going to have to retrain folks. And once they learn this and they understand the expectation, the first month, it's going to be difficult. It absolutely will be. But once we get this in place, it will benefit everybody in our community who comes to an athletic event or to a school event. And so I think at this point in time, what we're talking about is when that SRO is there, and again, at a football game, we've got 5 SROs at a high school football game, right? We've got 3 at a JV football game. We're going to station someone who's right there. If we have an issue, who can step in. We're going to have administrators there, and we're going to work with people. We're not going to be so draconian that we make this so difficult that we're trying to create enemies of the people who are coming to our events. Again, purpose matters, and we will explain that to them, and we will work with people. Again, there's going to be people who come in with bags because they just had a baby. We're going to have some flexibility. And we can always look into that if we need to. But again, I think it's going to come down to those, just getting people retrained.
Do you already have signage made up?
We put a halt on the signage when you all wanted to discuss this.
So the QR code went straight to the website. So, and it halted there. So apparently it is up and ready to go.
It's ready.
Yeah.
We have sandwich boards ordered. We have the sandwich boards in place.
We're ready.
We put a halt on the ordering of the actual wording and this based on this conversation.
How long will that take you? You doing that somebody local that can print it up quick, or?
Yeah, we've got somebody local. I mean, again, we just put it on halt. I can't give you a time frame in which they would be done. The good news is we've got the sandwich boards at a perfect time because the price went up, and he was able to keep that price, and we went ahead and ordered them. because those are just things we can use all over the place. But we've got those in place. All we've got to do is put the signage up. Again, the purpose of those 2 QR codes is that people who walk up, if someone doesn't speak English, they are able to go right there and see the Spanish version. And again, we're going to have people there to implement this and do it in a way that is first class.
I appreciate the thought that's gone into this, and I agree. It definitely needs to happen. And I know we need to talk about getting it implemented, and thank you, Kimbrell, for being so good at your job. Thank you for letting us talk this through. My concern is moving to that next phase. So I'm good. Let's get this going. I'm so good. Let's move ahead with it. But going to that next phase, which is what Officer Stephanie was talking about a little bit ago, either the wand or the metal detector.
Well,
I would
and-
really like to revisit the metal detectors. I'm just going to say that.
There's some big grants coming out.
Yeah.
That I know are actively being worked on for that. Because the price it's high, but they are actively doing that right now.
And truth be told, a lot of these conversations got started after you all discussed the weapons detections or the metal detectors, and we looked at the price, and you're thinking, okay, what are some low-cost entry measures to try to make things a little better until you get to that point?
Did you say at other counties, people are being wanded to go into?
Oh, any Buncombe County school, you get wanded. They're not, some of them very
What about
good from
sporting
my
events?
professional standpoint, but
Right.
they try. All Buncombe County schools and some are, and it's because they found guns during their sporting events.
Is that something that we, like the sheriff's office, would be able to wand people when they come, or is that like something that we would have to like
We are
purchase?
at that point hired by the school system, and it would be up to them as to what they want us to do
So it would have to be in our.
on that. To have the metal detectors, which a lot of them have.
Our
That would be
schools,
it.
our high schools have, and middle schools have the portable wands. Have at least one.
All the schools have one, you said?
The middle and high schools do have at least one that I know of.
It does slow things down. It is more invasive.
I mean, it's not invasive.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, it's.
I know what you're
anything
saying,
you
but
do
no,
now,
it's,
it is,
no,
you know.
it's, because I'm very concerned about if someone's going to want to bring a weapon and a bag is not going to stop them, and I
No, that
just,
won't stop them.
I feel like with the recent stuff, I do have a very high uncomfortable level, and I mean, I worry about it. I worry about our high school events specifically, just because of the age of a lot of, these are like young people that are doing this, and I mean, high school age, and so, I don't know. I don't feel like there's a too careful.
No, I don't either.
I'll make a recommendation that we go ahead and ask our staff to implement the clear bag guidelines. Make sure we get out all the information and use all the media sources that are at our disposal. I think it needs to start at our major sporting events that are starting next week, and we can do it middle and high. But I do think there needs to be a policy written at some point, but I'm willing to call it a procedure until we work out some kinks and know the ins and outs of it. That would be my proposal.
I know that this is a lot, so if you could express our thanks to the athletic directors, administrators, teachers, SROs, like everybody that's going to be doing this, it's going to be a lot. It's the right thing to do, but it's going to be a lot. And I know it puts a burden back on them, and I really appreciate it.
Well, I think the big piece is the training piece. Once they're trained, it will not be a lot. It's the same as saying you can't bring food into a basketball game. It's the same as saying all of those pieces. It's just getting those habits trained again.
Yeah.
I think you have a motion from Ms. Revis so that it's clear what the direction from the board is. So if you want to accept that as a motion, you could take a second.
Do you want?
Or it can just be the understanding of the board to be put in the minutes that it's going to remain a guideline until the administration brings back a policy.
I'd rather
You can do
be a
that
motion.
also.
Anybody got a second?
I'm sorry, you rather a motion that it's staying,
I'd rather it be a motion than just to vote on it.
that we're leaving it
Oh,
guideline for
okay,
now?
recommendation.
No, I'd rather what she said be a motion.
I see.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And whatever clarity you want in that, please put it in the motion so that we know.
Right, and what I heard was that the board would approve the clear bag guidelines to be developed by the administration, to be implemented immediately at sporting events at the high school and middle school level, with the expectation that the administration will come back with a policy for the board to
To
consider.
include all extracurricular.
To include all extracurricular.
Immediately, all events across all middle and high school.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to start here. I think it's like a.
I think her motion was sporting event to get going. It was just sporting events, unless you want it to be broader than sporting events. I think that's the only issue.
Well, we're happy to accommodate in any way. The problem is your sporting events are soon. Those other events will be down the line a little bit more.
I would say all.
More
I
immediacy
think all the
is your sporting event.
All events.
Public events.
All events, yeah. And yeah, we may not have a concert next week, obviously, but I think it needs to be all events communicated and say to include sporting events, concert, whatever, so people already know.
It's coming.
And then, I mean, here's my other question. I know this is, you're right, it's the details. So like when open house comes and you have just, at the middle high school or whatever, I do think, I agree, you have just as many people walking in as you would at a concert, maybe even.
There's 1,000 people at Hendersonville Middle School right now for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
That's-
Meet the teacher.
So, are we going to say, is that included in an event, or is it just because?
That's why I believe this has to be a policy and not just a
Yeah.
procedure.
Because I agree that also falls under, I mean, it's the same thing.
An event, yeah.
So I think, what was the intent of the administration as far as non-athletic events? What was your intent as of last week as
We
to
also-
non-athletic?
So what we were talking about were concerts, your bigger public events.
Plays.
Public events, okay. So I think where Ms. Revis was starting is to okay what the administration intended to start with the expectation that they're going to bring back a more comprehensive policy.
Yeah, if you want to move it to everything, we would have to have more discussion on that, figuring out, and also communication with our elementary schools.
Yeah, I just don't want it
Pieces
to
to that.
slow down that this is
What you see
happening now.
presented is what grew out the conversations from the athletic directors in the schools.
I think that's where we start.
Is the September meeting too quick to bring back a potential first read policy? You think?
Do you have any model policies ready?
I just asked you this.
No.
Yeah. Are there any policies?
As far as I know, every other client just handles this administratively.
Correct.
But no one has a policy.
I'm okay for it not to be
As far as I know.
policy, as long as we are implementing it and we are all in agreement on what I do think this is a board discussion, I agree. I don't have to have it as a policy personally. I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't at some point, but I think we need to discuss it and agree. I think Blair's right, it's the details of like.
Yeah, I know.
So-
It's like, oh,
Well, I think
I've
what
said
you,
that before, like maybe once.
if I may, Madam Chair, I think what you could do is we codify this, and then you start adding to what you want additional.
Okay.
I agree.
Because I don't want to try to guess what anybody thinks is more public than another. And that also allows, as we add those, it will be a public discussion. We can publicly communicate that it's comprehensive to include this, and this.
If I could just add one thing, it would be very helpful to allow us to get started with fall sports and to really be able to start implementing this with those events at the high school and middle school and let us learn from it. And then come back to you and give you information. If you want to start adding it more, we'll know more to be able to give you ideas on how that's going and what we need to do to implement that.
Could we have like a spitball date for something by, like our October meeting? Because that's a couple months from now to work through some.
Well, what I would recommend is that we put this on the agenda for September so that we
Sure.
can provide you with some feedback as to
Okay.
what we're finding.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then maybe a policy further down or whatever. Yeah.
Well, we'll know how it's going up to that point, because you'll have a couple of football games, you'll have multiple volleyball games, you'll have middle school football will start.
We
You
can
have
start pushing
time.
it out like, yeah, I mean.
We can give feedback over this is what we're finding, and this is what's working.
And word of mouth travels.
What about
I mean,
people
there's a lot
that
of
use our
people.
facilities that aren't specifically school-related? What about so my son plays football, so we've got a game at East this weekend. Is that going to apply to them? Same students.
So anything that, I think what we've discussed, if we don't own it, we don't implement it. So if it's youth football, that's up to them.
But
They
it's on our,
provide their own
it's on our
security.
property, though, so I mean.
Understood.
You know.
But again,
It's a facility use piece. It's
Facility
not a
use.
management on our side piece.
You also need time because there are different people involved when you start talking about concerts and all these other things. It's a different group of people that you have to talk to. So I'm willing to go ahead and let's do it, so we can get it started at our activities, our athletic events that are coming up.
So you have a motion on the table, right?
I don't know what I do.
She said I recommend.
Yeah, I think now you could make that a motion if you'd like to.
I don't know that I need to make a motion?
Yeah, I want to vote on it.
A motion, let me be real clear, a motion is not necessary, okay? The administration, with your understanding, can just proceed with implementing the guidelines and bring you back a policy later. The reason for a motion would be, do you want it to be clear that the board did approve immediate implementation of these guidelines at athletic events and concerts? Which is more of a communication issue, more of a political issue for you as board members.
Oh,
Do
I'm
you want,
fi- I'm
you want
fine
the
with that.
principals to be able to say, this has been board approved, to go ahead and start at athletic events and concerts?
Sure.
Well,
Up
now,
to you.
Sure.
I will say
If you
now
do,
that
I would do that by motion.
as a superintendent, now that we've had this discussion, I would prefer that too.
That's fair.
CYA.
No, listen, I'm good to own it until you own it.
I didn't think okay, so I'm going to move.
Here it comes.
Chris, what am I moving? That we
Move-
approve the.
Yeah, move that the
event-
board approve the clear bag
bag
guidelines
guidelines
for athletic events and
Immediately.
concerts at the high school and middle school level immediately, with the understanding that the administration will bring you back a board policy by no later than the October meeting.
Second.
Okay.
I think you were going to give them till October to actually bring you a policy.
Yeah.
They're going to
we're gonna
update you in
discuss- We will
September.
discuss it again in September, though. Well, this will be on the agenda
Can we
again.
put the discussion if a policy is needed at that point?
Sure.
I don't want to just write policies to write policies when no other policies for this exist.
And that's a given. They bring you a policy, you don't have to approve it. So I think the wording can say to bring back a potential policy
Okay.
I
for
second that.
consideration by October.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Yeah, I think, did you get a second?
Opposed?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Motion carries.
one last thing, just so we're all on the same page. This has set us back a little bit, so I don't want you to somebody go to the first game and we don't have this implemented just yet because we don't have boards in and we don't have all this. Just trust that we're gonna work as fast as we can. Our goal is to get it right. That's more important than trying to do it right now, as Mr. Garrett likes to say. We just need to get it right, get the communication right, get all the things we need to implement this as quick as we can with fidelity.
Could we do an all call to parents, letting them know that we're going to this? Like,
That all call is ready.
okay.
all is ready. The website, everything's ready to roll. The signs, the last time I talked to First Choice Graphics, are about 8 days out.
Okay.
Artwork to put outside the games.
Okay.
So that's the only.
Could we just print like paper? I mean, can we not just print off
We can-
like
we'll
15 of
work-
those and literally have them
we'll
everywhere
work
and
with
go
our
ahead and
schools.
implement it? I understand that this bigger the better in the official, but
It's, yeah, it'll take long.
I mean, I would prefer it to be implemented like starting first games.
Oh, it'll be implemented. We just may not have everything that we had planned to have to communicate that as you walk up.
Well,
So
that's
we can
not
look
your
at some
fault.
pieces.
That's our
So
fault.
that's, yeah.
We can look at some pieces, but we've got the call slotted, ready to go. We have to just release it. And we've got where we're going to source the graphics for this. We've got sandwich boards bought, and there's some additional things that we can do. We just needed this piece to happen first, and then we'll move forward.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go to superintendent reports.
First up,
Capital update.
capital updates.
Dr. Taylor.
All right, so as we jump into the capital updates, I will highlight big projects, of course, as I talk about things that have been done over the summer from a district level and from an MRTS level. But before I do that, I do want to say that there's a lot of stuff that gets done during the summer in our school buildings, thanks to the hard work of our custodians and our maintenance staff. And so while you will not see highlights of floors getting stripped and waxed or outside landscaping being done, those are all things that get done during the summer, and people don't always recognize just how hard our custodians and our maintenance department work to get our schools turned back around from May to August. And so really just appreciate their hard work and just want to give them a shout out. But as we look at big projects, there were quite a few that were done over the summer months since we last met in June. And so the first item to highlight is that program and conceptual phasing study that we're doing with LS3P. That is still in the works, being fine-tuned in preparation for that grant to be released. So at this point, it has still not been released for us to go ahead and complete and submit. But the day that it's released, LS3P will be ready to help us get that grant completed and submitted on time. At East Henderson as part of last year's budget was the water cutoff valves project. And so that was completed in July. It was about a 3-day project, but glad to say that work is done. Also at Flat Rock, Cooper Construction installed that HVAC upgrade in the F Hall. That is a project actually that was part of the 24-25 capital budget, but had to be delayed due to some roofing work that needed to be completed first. Cooper did a great job of getting in there very quickly and getting that work finished so that it's up and running for us to welcome students on Wednesday. The sidewalk replacement at Rugby, that is part of this year's capital budget, and so that work was completed early on in July as well. The pedestrian bridge replacement at Rugby, that is still one of those Helene projects that is lingering. We thought we were very short on waiting for DPI to approve that, but they have sent the architect back some additional questions and have requested some additional information. And so he's back at the drawing board from an architect's standpoint. So as soon as he gets that information to DPI, hopefully it'll be a quick turnaround on that approval process. At West Henderson this summer, we replaced the auditorium stage floor. We learned in the spring that the floor condition was starting to become a safety issue for students as they were doing their performances, and so we were able to replace that this summer.
We had a couple of incidences with the fire alarm on Sundays. Are you aware of that? Okay. So it went off multiple times, and thank God Kent Parent was there and knew how to kind of like reset it and whatever. But it was quite interesting. We were really glad that it happened while we were there versus when school began, that the fire alarm, the smoke alarm was going off. But I just want to say thank you. It was a very interesting experience. 4 times in just a few minutes that it went off.
Yeah.
Dust.
West?
It's at West. It's dust in the ducts where they had sanded the floor, and it's anyway. I don't know the progress of how that's been completed and cleaned out, but anyway, it was a big issue.
Yeah, I'll follow up on that. And then the final piece from a local standpoint this summer, the phone system transition. If you remember back in October, November, I was talking about that being completed by the first of the year, and then we learned that AT&T had to release the phone numbers to the new company, and that took until just recently for that to be released to us. So that work is in progress and going well to this point. From an MRTS standpoint, Atkinson HVAC system, the bid opening was July 2nd. If you remember, the first round of bidding for that did not produce enough people interested in the work, so it had to be rebid. And so that second bid opening was July 2nd, and the contract has been approved for Johnson Controls. So once that contract is executed, then we'll be able to begin working with them on the schedule for that work to get completed. The HVAC controls replacement at Sugarloaf, our middle schools, North Henderson and West Henderson, continues to be in progress. Paving at Hillendale Mills River is still in progress. Mills River was completed earlier in the summer. This is actually a project that's a carryover from the 24-25 MRTS. It did not get finished last summer due to weather and other obstacles that were faced. Mills River, again, was completed earlier in the summer. Hillendale, the bus lot has been seal coated and striped. The front lot only has temporary painting on it. The work on that front lot, we had to reduce the size of the islands so that we could have 2 lanes to travel through that parking lot to really try to help get cars off of the main road. And so the work in terms of reducing the curbing and widening the turn lanes has been done. But now the company still has to come back out and seal coat and stripe that parking lot. So I'll keep you posted on that. And then from the bus garage standpoint, Edifice and LS3P continue to be in the design development phase, but they are on the on the tail end of that work. Matter of fact, we have a meeting next week with them to look at how they've refined the scope of this project and put more details into it, and then also to see kind of where that's leading us in terms of that cost analysis. And so I have an update in September of how that meeting goes. Any questions?
We have a joint facilities meeting in early September about the bus garage too, so we'll keep you guys posted on that.
So that was requested by the county. I've not heard confirmation back, but I did share the availability of our members with the county.
What is going on with the sign out at Sugarloaf? It hasn't worked since I want to say March or April.
Yes, if I remember correctly, it was damaged by an individual outside of school hours, and that is what has caused it to stop working.
Oh, like vandalism?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yes.
And is it like outrageous to fix it?
I'll have to follow up with the school. That was a school purchase at some point in time, and so I'll follow up with Ms. Newcomer to see what the status is on that repair.
Okay.
What I know you brought up Atkinson and the HVAC. So y'all had me go to the legislative committee, and I want you to know that I did not bring it up. However, DPI is actually, there's a lot of people not happy that they won't let people get work done, and it was part of the survey that we had.
Yeah, I was going to say that was on our survey.
So I wasn't the first, but I might have made some comments. They have slowed down our progress as well. So.
I mean, I guess they're looking, when you say they had questions about the pedestrian bridge, I'm like, well, I guess at least they're looking at it. They're not just passing stuff through.
Yes,
It's ridiculous.
They're thorough.
Yes. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Sosha.
All right. Got a couple for you tonight. They go back a ways. So we're going to start off with, how did June 30 end up? And all of these June 30th ones, I'll just make the blanket statement right now, are before payables and receivables have been finished up. We're still finishing up the final postings, but this is very close to what the final numbers will look like. So for the local current expense and other restricted funds, as of June 30, we had revenues of $40,225,000 and expenditures of $38,823,000. That is much better than we anticipated at the beginning of the year. A lot of that has to do with the fact that we did not get salary increases last year. And that positive balance that we have is what is going to be used to cover the salary increases in the upcoming year, as well as all the bonuses that were put in place. So it's all part of what our request was that we talked about for the upcoming year. So we will use that balance in the coming year. And as far as how we started off the current year, through July 31st, we have received revenues of $4,028,000 and expenditures of $3,304,000, excuse me. So just a typical July for us. But the best part is we got salaries paid on the actual salary that people are going to make all year. And that is a first.
Sometimes we're far enough behind, we're ahead.
That's right, yes. The capital outlay, as of June 30, is always a fun one, because it looks like a really big number. So revenues received totaled $5,447,000 and expenditures of $5,492,000. We did not do that much construction of our own dollars. In fact, $1,574,000 of that was the regular capital outlay. We got the $1.5 million from the county. That was where that was. So we had $1,574,000 on the regular projects. Another $1,540,000 was for the Chromebooks and Helene repair. So that is going to be insurance mostly, a little bit of FEMA, and the MRTS that was used for the Chromebooks. And we also have to post $2.3 million for the school buses that we lease. The state actually does the leasing, and they make us run the payments through our books, and they're actually double booked. It's a very weird accounting. I mention that every time because it still doesn't make any sense. We account for the buses when we order them, and we also account for them again when we receive them, and they both show up on the books.
And the loan is in our name, and we don't make the payment.
We don't ever see any of the money.
Like that for years.
This number actually will get higher by the time we get the payables. I'm just waiting on the final numbers from the county for what was completed in MRTS last year, and then those will also get booked onto our books as well. On to the enterprise funds through June 30. So child nutrition, $8,847,000 in expenditures, or I'm sorry, revenues, and $9,261,000 of expenditures. So the finish was $413,000 deficit. I have got the new numbers now. It's going to be closer to about $350,000 once we get the final summer activity stuff posted back to then. So that is certainly a big improvement over the $1 million where we were sitting at this point a year ago. The one difference is that this is also the first year we didn't collect indirect costs. So $200,000 of that improvement is actually $200,000 less in our local budget. That's part of the thing.
23 grants appreciation.
Yeah. So definitely in the right direction. Still have some things to do to get that back down to the other side. You have a question?
Better than it was this time last year, though.
Yes.
So we have 8 elementary schools, 8 schools that are going on the CEP?
Yes.
Yeah. And did I understand this correctly in one of the emails or one of the reports that there's been an increase in reimbursement for that?
So the federal reimbursement, we are getting an increase. One penny.
One penny. So, okay, so what kind of a dynamic is that going to make on this?
That will not make much of an impact at all.
Okay.
Slap in the face.
Well,
That was the federal adjustment.
thank you. I thought it read 0.01. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is not going to be noticeable. And on to the child care program, revenues for the year were $1,147,000 and expenditures of $1,263,000, deficit of $116,000. DSS funds have now come in, which are taking us just below $100,000 for the year. And we had projected them to be about $92,000 originally. So they still have a healthy fund balance, and hopefully this year we will have to balance their budget. So if not, we know how we're going to approach it to get it there. And I do want, just a footnote from a previous conversation, I didn't want to say it until I had confirmed it. The funds for the PTO project are in the school bank account. So I just wasn't 100%, so I didn't want to say it until.
You want to sign it, sir?
That's a lot of money for any school. much less.
Well, you might be surprised some of our high school fund balances they got. Got some big fund balances.
All right. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Can I also, before we have this last thing, Tawana printed off the North Carolina School Board Association email and gave it to you there. They have a vacancy in their board of directors, and so if we want to nominate somebody to be on the board of directors, it was in your packet in closed session. So if anybody wants to do that, it'd be next meeting, we'd have to formally
Right,
nominate.
you've got time to consider that and then come up with a nominee. If anybody has an interest, you can put your stamp of approval on that nominee in September and send that to the NCSBA for consideration as a candidate.
Do not nominate me.
What if people want to volunteer to be considered for that? Can they just?
Just send me an email.
Okay. That way we'll know, and nobody will get drafted.
Well, you don't have to nominate anyone. It gives you the opportunity to nominate someone.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for our region, our area to be represented.
Yeah, agreed.
Before Mr. Garrett goes, because I know he wants to, I did just get an email from the legislative committee who actually gave a shout out to Henderson County as part of that email, that over 50% participation has already been done for that survey that you were sent.
It's 'cause you sent me that.
Because
I
you
didn't.
didn't, did you get it?
I don't know.
I didn't see his name on it, so I sent it. If you haven't got it, make sure you know. So Henderson County, you got a shout out, you've done your job. Make sure you complete
So
that.
I do want to say this, that I had to send out that survey to every board member in District A. I got very little participation.
Well, if you haven't done it, it is due August 25th. And there's lots of really good questions on there to include
Yeah.
DPI and a few other things.
I'm glad I already finished it. And I don't feel guilty. Okay, so let me go back to the agenda. Okay, general operations.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. It's my pleasure to share the first general operations report of the 26-27 school year. First day of school for Flex Calendar was July 9th, and they have been off to an outstanding start. I was able to do my all-day school visit at Bruce Drysdale last week, and elementary schools will put your butt to work if you go in there. So I was excited to spend the day with them. Traditional calendar kicks off on Wednesday. We'll have a staggered start, so half of kindergarten will be Wednesday, half of kindergarten will be Thursday, and then the whole gang will show up on Friday. September is Attendance Awareness Month, a great time to have that conversation with your folks about getting off to a great start in school and attendance matters. Our Labor Day holiday will be on September 7th. That'll be no school for all students and staff. Your first scheduled round of school board tours for this year is September 9th at 10 a.m., where we'll be going to Bruce Drysdale, Sugarloaf, and Hendersonville High School.
Is that correct? Because I went back and looked at the thing.
Is that
and
correct,
that's- I don't think that's
Tawana?
correct.
I trusted Tawana on this.
Because I was like, I'm not going to Hendersonville, my kid's there, and I'm going to be in trouble. So I looked back, and it didn't seem like we were going to
So the
Henderson.
date is correct.
The date is correct, but I don't think the schools are.
That Excel spreadsheet's correct.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are.
Yeah, I've got Fletcher.
Yeah, it's just that day. We've got that Excel spreadsheet though.
So the school tours are on September 9th.
Yeah.
Fletcher,
I just wanted to make
Hillendale,
sure I wasn't
and
going to be in
East.
big trouble at
So
home.
don't pay attention to any of those schools on there right now.
Those are all incorrect.
Like when,
Wouldn't have even picked up on it.
like when we go big. September 10th is our first Superintendent Teacher Advisory Council and Superintendent Parent Advisory Council meetings of the year. September 10th and 11th will be our annual Class of Kindergarten T-shirt distribution. If you have a chance, come out. Those are awesome events. That is when our class of 2039,
Unbelievable.
I'm going to let that sit just a moment. Class of 2039 will get their T-shirts that if you go through this district long enough and come to some senior events, you'll see some kids who wear their Class of T-shirt. So that's just kind of the unifying thing we do as a district with lots of community partners. that provides each kindergartner a T-shirt that signals their journey through Henderson County Public Schools and when they're going to graduate. And as was shared earlier, we set another record this year for our graduation rate, and we want to continue that. On the 14th of September is your next regular business meeting. Closed session will be at 3, and the regular board meeting, again, will be at 4 o'clock. September 14th through the 2nd is intercession break for students on the Flex calendar. That's where I always have to remind those staffs not to be too ugly with the pictures they post and the vacations that they are taking while the rest of us are still in school for regular sessions. September 15th starts National Hispanic Heritage Month. And also on September 15th, shout out to the gentleman in the back, is IT Professionals Day. So lots of goodies and treats for IT on September 15th. That's right. That's right. The people you need to be nicest to in any district are your IT folks.
Yeah.
But we certainly appreciate Grant, you, and Matthew, and your crew. So tell them we appreciate them every day, not just on September 15th. But we're really excited to get another school year started here in Henderson County Public Schools. Again, our Flex Calendar schools have had a great start. We're looking forward to having everybody else join in a couple of days. And it's hard to believe, but I'm beginning my 5th year here with Henderson County Public Schools. And there are some changes coming because we're kicking another kid out of the house on Friday. So we're shipping another one. I know you've got one going to college. I know some other people have some seniors that are coming up. So lots of emotions this school year, folks, for the Henderson County Board of Education. So thank you for allowing me to share that report.
Okay, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.